Appreciate you streaming in on a Victory Monday here on Birds 365. Eagles get a 40-33 win last night. Sunday Night Football, John McMullen's favorite. He loves those Sunday night games. He's sucking it up and getting it done with us today on just a couple hours sleep here on Birds 365. But the Eagles get to kick back, rest, and relax today. We'll hear from Coach Nick Sirianni later today. You were part of the post-game stuff. Anybody say anything that surprised you? Hard fought, up and down the field win, but again, Eagles get to 10-1. I don't know if you at least leaned on. I don't know if you mentioned the exact details. This is the fifth time in the history of Philadelphia Eagles they've been 10-1 in a given football season. In those other 4 years, championship before the Super Bowl, and the other three all Super Bowl appearances, including the Super Bowl win a couple of years ago. So when they've gone 10-1, they have gotten to the championship level each and every single time. That bodes very well for where this team is right now. Anybody say anything after the game that specifically grabbed your attention, Johnny Mac?
No. I mean, wins are wins, man. I mean, it's a party atmosphere. Everybody's happy. Everything's copacetic. It's tough to even take the issues seriously because you just ran for 363 yards. And I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. So, and we do bring up things like special teams and Nick said it's got to get better and yada yada, and understandably it does have to get better, but it's hard to take these issues seriously when you're winning like the Eagles are winning. And the positive to me, especially offensively, 500 total yards, and the passing, even though not a high volume, some big plays. So there were some good things there as well. There was a little bit of a lull, starting in Houston, really. They beat Houston's really bad. And, it was like a workmanlike performance, probably a little bit bored, to be honest, against a bad football team. But they won the game. Then you had Washington, which was the only loss. Then you had Indy, which they had to scratch and claw against a mediocre team. This was the first time they kind of got out of that lull a little bit, at least offensively. So that part of it's positive. And then you have the potential returns you were talking about. Jordan Davis, potential to come back this week. We'll see. I saw him jogging a little bit. So I don't know if you need to push it because you have Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh now. But he's eligible to come back. Avonte Maddox, I think that was a more serious injury. That was a serious injury. And that happened in Houston. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. And Dallas Goedert as well is supposed to be back in the regular season, but that's a long time frame still. With 6 games remaining, if it's the final game. But I think if you can get all of those 3 players back for the playoffs, you mentioned it, previous times being 10-1. I mean, this is championship or bust right now, Jody.
Sure.
That's what it is. Anything less would be a disappointment.
And it should be, because the record says so. And the other thing, and you and I have discussed this previously, they're going to have Jalen Hurts on the final year of his rookie contract next year. When and if they get a contract extension done with him, and the when is not till after the season's over and done with. By rule, they can't even talk to him about a contract extension until he enters the final year of his rookie deal, which is after the season is over and done with. Man, is he going to get paid? We've had conversations about this starting last year at the end of the season, after the season was overdone. Are they going to go get another quarterback? They made the run at Deshaun Watson. They made the run at Russell Wilson. That didn't happen. All right, Jalen's our guy. What's it going to, if, even if it's by default, if he's their guy, what should they be talking about as far as a contract extension goes? Oh, we started in the 20s with those numbers. We got to the high 20s. We got into the 30s. We got past 35. Oh, it's a $40 million per year conversation now with the kind of numbers he had. That's where it starts, and it probably goes north of that. So, yeah, it's going to be tough to put together the kind of roster that Howie Roseman has done this year because they're doing so with a quarterback who's making $1 million.
Yeah.
They'll have that opportunity again next year, but then it's going to get really hard. So, yeah, the Eagles every year should be a championship year, but with the direction of the team and the contracts and the cap situation they have, oh, yeah, you want to go ahead and get another Super Bowl championship because it's going to get tougher with this franchise forward from here.
Yeah. And I apologize, by the way. I'm under the weather. I keep coughing, but nothing I can do. So I'm trying to get through it. But when and Les brought this up, and I have this, and I get why people think it, but I don't know if this is necessarily true. When you talk about contracts, the salary cap's going up. We all know the new TV deals, it's going up. And people say, well, that will give you a little bit more room. You can pay Jalen and do some other things because the salary cap's going up. I don't think so. Quarterbacks, no, by the way, it's going up. That's not what I'm saying. But quarterback contracts set the market. In other words, agents know the salary cap's going up, and that's baked into the quarterback deals. The quarterback deals are only going up. As the salary cap goes up, incrementally, the quarterback deals go up.
Right.
So it's not going to be, oh, you're going to get the regular quarterback deal and get all this extra space for everybody else. No, that's going in, and that's going up more than any other position because that's what sort of runs the NFL. So I don't think that's going to be a positive that people think it's going to be. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's not. Yeah, he's going to get a boatload of money, and you're going to have to build the roster differently. Now, as you mentioned, Howie Roseman's smart enough to get that final year out of his rookie deal and structure the extension when they do get it done to the point it won't kick in until 2020. Where are we? 2023, so 2024. But yeah, Jody, it's going to be a different world.
Yeah, the teams that are going to benefit from the expanded salary cap next year are teams like the Chiefs. Andy Reid will do just fine because they got the Mahomes deal done. So when the cap expands, you're going to want to be the guy who's already got your quarterback under contract, not the guy who's working to get their quarterback under contract, because you are 100% right, John. Oh, the quarterbacks are going to ride that gravy train. That expanded cap is going to be baked into the dollars that they're going to be asking and or getting if they get to the open market. Jalen Hurts is going to get expensive. Right now, you've got an MVP level player playing for a first ever contract, a second round draft pick money quarterback playing for an MVP. That's a major advantage to have. And you need to take advantage of it. And Eagles have to the tune of a 10-1 record, but they're going to have to keep it going in the playoffs because there is the potential pot of gold at the end of this rainbow season, and that's a Super Bowl championship. But I'll give credit to a couple other teams. They did keep the pressure on the Eagles this weekend. Cowboys won against the Giants, although that late touchdown they gave up might have beaten some of us who thought the Cowboys were going to win by 3 touchdowns and may have wagered on that. Backdoor cover by the Giants crushed me. Took me out of my 14 parlay. Thank you very much, Dallas, for just going into prevent defense there at the end. But they won, and they're 2 games behind the Eagles. The Vikings, just a game behind the Eagles, found a way to win late on Thanksgiving as well. And Johnny's Super Bowl pick, the 49ers. I watched some of that game late yesterday. Their defense is legit. It's real.
Yeah.
The Saints
49ers
offense.
scare me. 49ers scare me. Cowboys are very good. They don't scare me. Well, if I'm the Eagles now, I think the 49ers are the biggest concern. Giants are who I thought they were. Vikings are who I thought they were, and the fact that they can't stop anybody. They manage to win games. They have good playmakers, but their defense is so bad. I look at it as Eagles, and if anybody's going to knock off the Eagles, it's probably going to be the 49ers and then the Cowboys.
I would agree with you. Those are the top three teams, and I would put them in that order. Who was I debating with yesterday? Oh, it was Zach Berman on WIP. He said Eagles, then Cowboys, then 49ers. I said, why would you rate the Cowboys ahead of 49? I know they're one game better as per the standings, but he said, well, the quarterback position. What has Dak Prescott ever done in the playoffs? At least Jimmy G's won some games. I know Jimmy G never comes out and throws for 350 and 5 touchdowns, but he has won playoff games. And oh, by the way, if you just go by quarterback passer rating, which some people like, some people don't, I think it's one of those things you have to acknowledge is the best we have. While imperfect, it is the best way we have of judging quarterbacks. Jimmy G is rated above Dak Prescott right now. So, yeah, I'm with you, J-Mac. My Super Bowl choice, Eagles. Your Super Bowl choice in the NFC, 49ers. They're the two best teams in the NFC right now. And if they're not playing for a championship come late January, I'd be surprised. I think they've kind of distanced themselves from the rest of the conference.
Yeah, Thanksgiving's always the time of year where the real contenders start to distance themselves. The pretenders start to show their pretenders. And as I mentioned, I think we've kind of seen that already start to develop. And, the also-rans also start giving up and start thinking about next April more than so this is the time of year. And the Eagles are clearly – look, I think they're still clearly the best team in the NFL, but they have to get healthy. And healthy, they need specifically Dallas Goedert and Avonte Maddox, even more than Jordan Davis, because they've been able to at least replace Jordan Davis a little bit with Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh, more Linval. But those other two, they have not been able to replace. Josiah Scott had the big interception, which I mentioned, which is nice, but overall play has not been up to anywhere near Avonte Maddox's standard. And obviously, tight end has been an issue, especially in the passing game without Dallas Goedert. If they can get those two players back and playing at a high level, they're good. They're really good.
Right, and you fully expect the coach Nick Sirianni to give you an exact timeline on when those players
to the minute, Jody, to the minute.
You know who I had to tell. I thought of Sirianni this weekend. I was lucky enough, wise enough to get in on the Jets minus only 5.5 because someone told me on Saturday there's no way that Justin Fields is going to play. That the Bears kept insisting that he was questionable for the game. And someone gave me the info before they had advanced Nathan Peterman onto the roster. If that wasn't a dead giveaway that Justin Fields wasn't playing, I don't know what was. And then in the warmups, they say Trevor Siemian's not going to play, that he injured himself while warming up, and that Peterman's actually going to start. And then the game starts and Siemian's in there. So I don't know if that was a ruse or whatever. But Chicago's playing that same game Nick Sirianni does. Information is value, and I'm going to hold it as close to my chest as possible.
Yeah. Nobody cares, Chicago. Nobody cares if it's Trevor Siemian or Nathan Peterman.
Those of us who were considering betting the Jets absolutely cared yesterday, Johnny Mac.
I meant, I don't mean gambling. I meant football-wise. But the competitive advantage, the
And
nonsense.
by the way, the Jets are in a playoff race too, so it had football implications
But I
as
meant the
well.
Jets. The Jets are winning that game, whether it's Trevor Siemian or Nathan Peterman. That's the point.
They were
They're
trying to
not.
make you believe that Justin Fields was going to play, which I'm telling you, someone told me there's no chance, Jody. There is no chance he's going to get anywhere near the field. But according to the Bears, they were going, oh, he's questionable. We don't know. It was game time decision. No, it wasn't. It was a friggin' Wednesday decision that he was out of the game.
Yeah, the Bears are. I don't like what the Bears have done this year. I don't like how they built around Justin Fields to begin with, and then it took them way too long to take advantage of what Justin Fields does well. And now, when I heard all that, and I wasn't paying as close attention as you were as a Jets guy, but my estimation was there were more people in the decision than should have been. That's how I got it. I was like, this is the GM's involved, about who's playing quarterback, and that's always a bad situation. That's how I took it.
Okay,
I don't know if that's the case, but that's how
I didn't, and I don't know if it was the case either, but I thought it was more a Matt Eberflus comparison to Nick Sirianni thing. Who somehow I'm going to gain an competitive advantage by not being honest about where my players are at. That's the way I saw it. And yes, oh, by the way, Trevor Siemian played like Trevor Siemian, and they weren't beating the legend that was Mike White either way for the Jets. All right, well, but that stuff aside, I just thought it was a fun comp between Sirianni because he's going to tell Johnny Mack, he's going to whisper in his ear exactly when Avante Maddox and Jordan Davis are going to come back. Dallas Goedert. Johnny
He might
Mack
tell Chris Franklin, but he's not telling me.
You think Franklin's got a better chance to get the? Maybe he's already told Franklin. Let's find out. We'll take a quickie timeout. Come back here on Birds 365 from NJ.com. Chris Franklin is next. Stay right here with us.
At